Hello, everybody. It's Chris. I hope you're having a beautiful Monday. I wanted to go live today because I wanted to share. Well, first of all, I'm going live every day, Monday through Friday, to give you guys some tips, share a little bit of behind the scenes of what it looks like to actually grow a successful and a thriving coaching business. I'm also going to be sharing pieces of the Soulful Abundance System, which is what I also teach inside of Activate Abundance Academy. Let's see, just want to make sure that we are actually going live in some of our places. And yeah, so if you're here and you're watching, let me know. Just go ahead and pop in #live if you're here live. We should be streaming to my personal profile. So those of you that are my friends, say hey. We're also streaming into the YouTube channel, which is Soulful Abundance with Chris, and also inside of the Facebook group, which is Holistic Business Success. So we're going to be going live there every single day to help those of you who are heart-centered leaders here to make a difference in the world by helping people live happier, healthier lives. And so if that's you, you're in the right place. I'm Chris Williams. For those of you that don't know me and my Facebook group or on the YouTube channel, I am a soulful business strategy coach. I help coaches, life coaches, spiritual coaches, women entrepreneurs in the wellness realm, nutritional therapy practitioners build and grow their first six figures inside of their holistic practice, or scale and get to multiple six figures. So, oh my gosh, I'm going to share something today which is a little bit vulnerable. But you know what? We all have times when we really just kind of want to sneak out the back door, right? If that's you, just go ahead and pop in the chat, BD in the chat for back door. When there are days that you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, it's Monday, right? Or, oh my gosh, I really don't want to do the thing today. Or I know I need to do the thing, but I really don't want to do the thing. And I really just want to go back to bed. That was me today. I woke up and I'm like, having my coffee, taking care of some things that I needed to take care of. And then I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to do this live. Like, I really just want to grab my book and go to bed. Right. And yet, one of the things that I made sure that I was all in on from the very beginning when I said that I was going to go live was being committed to actually show up, to give some pointers, to give some tips that are going to help people actually implement the most important things in 2025 to build and grow their business, attract the right clients into their ecosystem, and really know what to do. Because when I first started building and growing my business, I had no idea what to do. Literally, got the certification as a massage therapist, got the certification as a yoga teacher, got the certification as a meditation coach, got the certification as a health coach, got the certification as a functional nutritionist, got the certification as a life coach, and yet had no idea how to actually create income in my business successfully. And so a lot of times it feels that there's just a lot going on. We don't really know what to do, or we are telling ourselves that we're overwhelmed, or we don't know what to do. And so I just want to share with you what are some of the things that I do that help me show up even when I don't feel like it, that help me take action even when I feel like, sneaking out the back door and just telling myself, it really just doesn't matter today. Like, missing one day really won't matter. Like, just not doing the thing today really won't matter. And so here's what I do. First of all, I realize that there is something going on, playing on, in the background, and with that voice that says, you know what, why don't you just go back to bed? You don't really have any calls today. You don't really have to do the thing. What's just one day? And I realized that, number one, it's just a thought. It's actually not a fact. It's actually something that means that I am stepping out of my comfort zone in some way, shape, or form, and I just don't want to do the thing. It's not that I can't, and it's not even necessarily that I'm overwhelmed. It's that sometimes we just don't want to do it, right? Sometimes we're just like, yep, just don't want to do it. So if we don't want to do it, then we get to kind of be clear about, well, what are the reasons why we don't want to do it? Like, what if it only takes 5 minutes, right? We tend to tell ourselves this bigger story that it's going to take so long, and I don't know where to start, and I'm not sure what to say, and fill in the blanks, right? I know that you guys have been where I've been, and I know that you guys are probably saying the same thing. Maybe some of you are like, yeah, I know I really need to do a live today to share some value, but I'm not sure what to say. Or maybe I really want to create an email, but I'm not sure what to say. Or, I want to do a Facebook Live, and yet, is it really going to matter today? Do I even have something that people don't know, right? So here's the thing, you guys, those are all just thoughts that are designed to keep us right here, right in our comfort zone, staying exactly where it is. And so here's what I want you to do instead. First of all, just recognize it's just a thought. It's not a fact. Okay. So we get to stop saying, I'm overwhelmed. We get to stop saying, I'm struggling. Like, let's take those words out of our vocabulary. And instead, here's what I do. I'm like, okay, it's today. What is one thing that I can do today that I know is relevant to the goal that I want? So, for example, it's January, right? Instead of saying, oh my gosh, what do I have to do to hit my January goal? I get to say, you know what? It's Monday. It's January 13th. What's one thing I could do today that might move me closer, even by 1%, towards my January goal in whatever way, shape, or form that looks, right? It doesn't mean that I have to have it all figured out. It doesn't mean that I have to get all of the pieces in place, because here's what I know to be true, that the more important than having it all figured out, more important than knowing exactly what to say, more important than knowing from A to Z exactly what it looks like, is actually being consistent and following through with what it is that you're going to say you do, because that builds trust. It starts building trust in here where it really, really matters. Because when we begin to trust ourselves, we start creating more confidence. We start creating more security within ourselves. And when we actually show up and we follow through, even though that part of our brain is saying, oh, no one really cares, no one's going to watch it, it really doesn't matter, we actually come through it knowing that we survived it and we can do it again, right? So first thing, recognize it's a thought. Number one, we're just going to recognize it's a thought. Well, you know what? Yeah, I could do that, but is that going to take me closer to my goals? I said I was going to show up in this way. Is that relevant? Is that in alignment with the way that I said that I made this commitment to myself to do this thing today, right? Number two, what's just one thing I can do? I don't have to solve the whole problem today, but what's one thing that's going to create, even if it's just a 1% change, because that 1% change over time, when we're consistent, over time, that is actually going to build the success that you want to have in your business. It's also going to build the trust with yourself. It's going to bring confidence with yourself. It's going to change the energy that you're in. And what you'll find is that you do the one thing and then you're done. And maybe that's when you grab your book and you're like, yeah, now I'm going to grab my book. I did the one thing. You're going to feel so good instead of guilting yourself of, gosh, I should have done the thing. I said I was going to do the thing. I didn't want to do the thing right. So we just get to know, look, we all have days, we all have times where we just want to tap out, right? We all have times when we're tired. We all have times when we just don't want to do the thing. So instead of, again, giving yourself these, telling yourself these lies that I'm overwhelmed or I don't really know what to do, those, again, because those are just thoughts, those actually aren't true. And here's how I know that they're not true. If I was to tell myself, I just don't even know what to do, so I'm not going to do it. Or I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to do, so I'm just not going to do it. I ask myself, I'm like, Chris, is that really true? If I was sitting in a court of law and the judge said, Chris, you are going to go away. I'm going to put you in prison for the rest of your life until you can come up with one thing that you need to do today to move your business forward. I guarantee you I would come up with the one thing. Guarantee you, right? So that tells me that it's actually just a thought. It's not a fact. I'm not overwhelmed. I have a thought that I'm thinking that's giving me a feeling that's causing me to feel overwhelmed, right? So what's the thought that I'm thinking? I have to have it all figured out. It has to be perfect. People aren't going to care and look, all of it is just thoughts, right? So instead, we just get to flip the script on that and go, you know what? I only need to do something that's going to move the needle forward, that 1%. And what is just one simple thing that I could do today? And I want to invite you to action it as quickly as possible, because if you don't action it when you're in the midst of it, then what your brain is getting is it's getting the signal that it's the right thing to do to tap out, right? That's just how our brain works. When we say, oh, it really doesn't matter, I should just tap out today, that actually goes on repeat. It becomes a part of your program. So when you notice that your brain is doing that, when you notice that your brain is saying, oh, it doesn't really matter if I do that today. It doesn't matter if I show up today. It doesn't matter if I, work on my business today. Every time you say that, it gets reinforced when you actually follow through with that. Okay. So instead, let's flip the script. Let's say, you know what? That's only a thought. And I absolutely know that there's at least one thing that I could do. One thing that I could do. Okay, so those are two things that I want you to focus on. Number three is if you still are like, okay, what's the one thing? Here's where you look. What is one thing that falls into one of these three buckets? So if you don't have a pen and paper right now, go ahead and grab it, write this down. What is the one thing? Take a look at what can you do today to move the needle forward 1% in any of these three buckets. And it doesn't even need to be all three. What's one thing that you could do today that is going to attract somebody in your ecosystem, that's going to allow you to be visible so that somebody could find you? Okay, that's the attract bucket. Number two, what is one thing that you can do in the nurture bucket? Maybe somebody, left you a message. Maybe somebody commented on a post. Maybe somebody asked for a freebie, right? Great. What is one thing that you could do in the nurture bucket? Or number three, which is in our invite bucket, what is one thing that you might want to do today to share something of value that is actually going to support somebody? So maybe that looks like, in reaching out to somebody who is already in your warm audience and say, hey, would you be interested in exploring having support around this thing? Would you be interested in, an assessment that I can help you kind of see where you're stuck or what's going on? We can see, what's causing you not to sleep well. We can take a look at what's causing your lack of energy, or we can talk about, again, it depends on what you are supporting your people in. So we get to take a look at those three buckets and find one thing that we can do. Again, when we want to tap out, we don't want to make it like a to-do list. Throw your to-do list away and just think about one thing that falls in either your attract bucket, your nurture bucket, or your invite bucket. All right, my friends, that's what I got for you today. Now, if you want to know more about the different actions that fall into the attract, nurture, and invite bucket, and you want to show up in a very heart-centered way, very genuine, very authentic, and learn how to build and grow your business to six figures and beyond, I'm inviting you to join me into Six Figure Success Simplified. We're going to start next Monday, and I'm going to share with you my six-figure playbook. You're going to get the playbook. You can take it away, use it. It is the exact strategy that I have used year after year after year after year. It's also what I teach inside of my flagship program called Activate Abundance Academy, to teach my clients how they can not only have a profitable business, but how they can do that in a way that doesn't trade their integrity. We're not going to do any aggressive tactics. We're not going to be bombarding people, trying to buy my thing. We're not going to try to convince or persuade somebody to work with us or chase after clients. We don't need to do any of that. We're going to do this in a really heart-centered way. And we're also going to do this in a way that doesn't cause you to need to sacrifice your integrity or your well-being for success. We don't need to trade those things. You get to have all of this intact. So I hope you'll join me. I'm going to post the link. I'm going to grab the link now. I will pop that in the chat below so that you guys can go ahead, get registered. We will have replays available. Again, I know that you guys are busy. You've got families, you've got things that you're going on, you've got clients that you are serving. We will make sure to send out the replays, but you have to be registered for that. And we're also going to be giving away some incredible templates. So email templates on exactly, how you can, invite somebody to download a freebie, email conversion templates inside of the email that you get once you register. We're going to be listing all of those. We're giving those away for free. So you're going to want those for sure. All right, my friend, I will see you later on. Actually, I'll see you tomorrow, where I'm going to be sharing some more tips, techniques that not only I use over and over again that actually work, but also what is new in 2025 so that you can be sure that you are taking action on the right things to build and grow your business in a way that feels really good and aligned for you. All right, my friends, I hope you have a great day. Take care.